So what happens when you add an insane political path to debatably the most vanilla, boring, bland major World War II nation to play as in a World War II game? Like seriously, in Hoi4 specifically, both the communist and fascist path are still technically kind of a democracy, and it takes so long to do anything in these paths that you still sit around until 1941. I guess in its defense, it was the first and one of the only countries still to this day to have a scripted GUI in the decision menu, and the War Powers Act section is decently fun if you enjoy bullying minor nations who will never stand a chance against you and then surprise invading Britain and easily beating them, which I guess, to be fair, is pretty satisfying. Regardless, today I have once again tweaked with this game to make things chaotic. Using my original Ancap America mod I first made last year, I got to work, and I was building from the ground up. The old thing had plus 150 PP as the focus completion reward for every other focus. Like, seriously, someone should give past Shaky a medal for being the most original Hoi4 modder of 2021. Well, that might be unironically applicable to some other things I made last year. But we don't need to think about those anymore. We just need to look towards the future to Ancap America. So, welcome to the wonderful world of Ancap America 2.0, now functional and on the Steam Workshop, but still unfinished and ultimately and irrevocably nonsensical. So let us start the game by sitting around for 8 months building up the infrastructure and industrial base of Pennsylvania, a state that happens to host the modern-day headquarters of a certain US steel company which established themselves there in the 1970s after an acquisition. But I have a feeling that today will be going there much sooner than the 1970s. We don't have that long to waste. And then once we're done queuing those buildings up, we'll wait around until the election so we can kick FDR out and replace him with our favorite libertarian supermodel oil millionaire Alf Landon, who technically supported many elements of the New Deal and would later go on to criticize his own party and call himself a pragmatic progressive, simultaneously being one of the first prominent US figures to argue that the United States should recognize Mao Zedong's new Chinese government among other various actions. Not seen as very conservative, but this is a silly Hoi4 mod, so we don't worry about those technicalities. You know, after I'm done with this, I have to work on something. Or maybe he was just being pragmatic. We're now led by Alf, the most physically attractive Hoi4 leader, and now we have completed the capitalism first focus, which allows us to get some new advisors, Henry Ford and Howard Hughes. Usually I wouldn't get both of them because there are other good advisors to get as America, but we don't care because we won't be America for very long. We have other big plans for the future here. First, we don't really have much to do because we don't have enough support in Congress. And here's some new stuff that I added. The military grows suspicious. Now the military can begin to grow wary of the direction that the country is going with this new yellow ideology appearing on the circle. Oh, and we also still have to deal with the Great Depression. Unfortunately, getting rid of the government doesn't really help with the Great Depression. Well, actually, we don't really need to do this, for reasons that'll soon become obvious. The effect doesn't automatically go away at any point, but it'll make sense soon enough. And the worker riots have begun? I don't know why they're so mad though, we're just giving them more freedom. As we've established the Business Federation, we have new decisions, or maybe not. Well, this is a little embarrassing, this might be broken a little bit. Okay, yeah, decisions are actually kind of annoying, and when you unlock new decisions, they don't usually appear unless there's some sort of countdown timer, so we'll just make sure that a countdown timer starts. So here we are, we have some decisions to increase and decrease certain satisfaction levels for different parties and stuff. There's not too much functionality for this thing for now. It's mainly just a test to see how well it fits into the bigger thing. And as I went through making the focus tree, I wanted to add effects to it, and I didn't want to have to implement this afterwards and then go back and add effects to all these focuses. That'll be more useful in on future versions if I ever make them. Also, please let me know if you want to see more of this mod in particular. I really love hearing feedback and suggestions for what mods you all want to see me work on. It's very cute when people write their 20-paragraph alt history lore ideas in YouTube comments. I do actually read those. And hey, if this video hits 2,500 likes, I'll take that as a sign you want me to go fix the Mexico part of Ancap America and give technocratic Mexico some content. In addition to that, I'm planning another video where I'll go more in depth into the process of making Hearts of Iron 4 mods. That project seems to be turning out rather interesting. Sounds like something you should subscribe to make sure you don't miss, if you get what I'm saying here. So we've now established a democracy of wealth. We have some democratic backsliding, and now we need to make sure that local states stay loyal by giving them some nice bribes. And we will privatize defense, which has the nice effect of giving us minus 100% recruitable population. But it kind of makes everybody happy when there's a 0% chance they're conscripted into the army. Well, until the local businesses take over and establish pseudo-states led by fascist governments that force everybody to labor and work for them. But that's still quite a ways away. And we've reached the ethical institution focus. We just don't have enough support for the Business Federation. We're still gaining support because of Ford and Hughes and a national spirit we have, but the Silver Legion and Communist Party are also gaining power due to the discontent among the military and the workers not being happy. So we can do a few things, mainly aligning key generals, military restructuring, and then we can deregulate the economy and the riots. And the riots is probably the most important because that's a lot of communist support we're getting from that national spirit. Now we finally have enough support for the Business Federation that we can do the focus. Doing it by late 38, that's not too bad. I may adjust a few things though, because that takes a long time. And the Russian Civil War started, but they only have Romania. That's really weird. It would be a cool story. The Soviets invade Romania, then a couple years later, a political enemy rises up in Romania and conquers the Soviet Union. And here we are, we're now the Business Federation, led by Ford. Congress is now just a purely ceremonial body. They don't do anything anymore. And we will now switch over to playing as US Steel. A few other guys will appear. Pacific Trade Company and Golden Circle Incorporated. They will be our rivals, technically, even though we're all in the same faction for now, the Free Corporate Commonwealth. But that won't last very long. If everything goes well, we'll hurry and pass the Bill of Free Enterprise and then work towards invading Canada, which will be made much easier considering they are no longer a puppet of the UK. I guess regardless, through our focus tree, it lets us fight a battle against them 1v1. We don't get America's help, they don't get UK's help. But since the UK has lost all of its colonies, that doesn't really matter. But we still have to leave the faction to justify wars. Right now, only the Business Federation and US Steel has their own content. In the future, I'd plan on adding a route to the Pacific Trade Company where they're able to purchase some colonies and maybe take some other ones. And we've moved our capital over to Pittsburgh, and we are going to try to purchase some territory from the Federation before we leave the Federation. Let's see. Try to buy all nearby lands. Oh, they denied. That's unfortunate, but we'll continue. And now we are expanding our steel enterprise by invading Canada. We got our independence and we're not allowed to rejoin the faction until after the war's over, so we'll have to fight this one ourselves. It will not be difficult though. Canada is pretty weak. You can become strong as Canada, but the AI can't become strong as Canada. It's outside of the realm of AI capabilities. And here we are as the Empire of Steel now, much more powerful, and due to a bug, I was also able to get South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand as puppets, which we shouldn't have even been fighting them. I'll patch that, but for now I'll take advantage of it. The Soviet opposition that only controlled Romania is winning now, and now we've completed our final focus, and we can invade the Business Federation and restore America, exploit this newfound freedom that we've been given. And since the market has rewarded us so dearly, now we will take our reward that we're rightfully able to earn. And the best thing about fighting in North America is the quantity of supply hubs that we're able to use. We'll never really have supply problems, save for fighting kind of in Nevada, California, and Mexico, some parts of it. And we were using some baiting tactics to weaken some of these divisions defending the mountains around Washington. We should be able to encircle the capital now and eventually take it. They're already 43% of the way towards capitulation, so that's already really good progress. Ideally, we'll get them to yeah, they're moving another division out, that's what we wanted. And we'll reform the front line and start battle planning again soon. We've encircled 3 divisions here, and they still don't have anything defending a large part of the front line here. They have really strong defense for the trade company, who they're gonna cause some problems, I guess, if this war goes on long enough. And they have pretty good defense over on the East Coast. Yeah, and they lost after we took Richmond and Denver. And there we go, the end of the Empire of Steel. Anyways, it's been fun making this path, and I may have made them slightly too overpowered, potentially. Either way, it's definitely interesting, and I've had fun making this mod, or fixing the old mod I made. It was pretty bad, and I've always been wanting to finish it. It's probably been more requested that I finish making this mod than even the Bread League, which I was requested for over a year to finish making. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Lots more stuff coming soon, especially once we start getting into March. I have a lot of projects that will finally finish up in addition to all these mods that I've been making. So I will see you all then.